Okay, so while you were rereading parts of this book, I asked you to think about what's the problem and what are some of the causes of this problem. Cynthia, what are you thinking the problem is?
I'm thinking the problem is people are killing the kakapo for food.
And kakapo is extinct.
Is it extinct yet? What are you thinking, Amanda? You're shaking your head. Say some words. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking
If the kakapo is extinct, that means there's none left, right? Are there any left? What, you're nodding yes, Dylan. Say a little bit more. Are there a lot of them left?
There's only a little left because on page 4 they said that, 5 they said that there are only 122 kakapos in the world left.
So they're on the brink of extinction. There's only 122 left. And Cynthia said that one of the causes for them almost being extinct is that people were hunting them for food. What was another reason that there aren't as many left as there were before?
Because people didn't know their species.
They didn't really know a lot about it, did they? And they were using the kakapo for food. What else did they use the kakapo for? You remember?
the feathers.
The feathers.
Or a cape.
To make a cape, you're right. So that's one of the causes of the problem is the people. What was another problem that was causing the kakapo to be almost extinct? What are you thinking? Dylan, you talked a little bit about animals and predators.
They moved the kakapo to Codfish Island, so the other animals that wanted to eat the kakapos could get the kakapo.
So before they moved the kakapo to another island, Marvin, do you remember that part? That the predators were eating the kakapo, and so they were being almost extinct. What were some of the solutions that the people came up with?
They checked on them.
They did check on them. Do you remember that part? Remember that part on page 12? What were they doing to check on them?
If their babies were safe.
They did want to make sure the babies were safe, right?
And when the mother was gone, they checked on them until the mother came back.
They did, and they called it minding the nest, or nest minders. And that's an expression, minding is like when somebody takes care of you. So when I was little, my grandmother would say, well, I'm minding you today because your mom is working.
Like
so there were, go ahead.
Daycare.
Like at daycare. So the people are minding or watching over and taking care of the babies too to make sure.
Kathy engages her students in shared writing about the book, Protecting the Kakapo. She is using a 2-column form to identify the problem and solutions in this nonfiction text. In shared writing, you and your students compose and write a response to reading on the chart paper. The value of shared writing is that it engages students collaboratively in every aspect of the writing about reading process in a highly supportive way.
Or extinct.
Oh. And what does that mean that they were almost extinct? What does that mean, Dylan?
There wasn't a lot of kakapos left.
Right. Why weren't there any? Why were some of them becoming extinct? What are you thinking, Amanda?
That some people were killing the kakapos.
Why?
So they can eat them.
So what could I write? Some people were hunting the kakapo? Is that okay? For hunting the kakapo for food
And the feathers.
and their feathers.
For the king.
Some people were hunting the kakapo. Was there anybody else hunting the kakapo?
The other animals.
The other animals.
Because they put cats, rats, and weasels.
Yes, and were those animals there before, or did
They
no?
brought them.
So, other animals hunted them too.
And I wonder why.
Say that louder, Marvin.
I wonder why.
Why do you think the animals were hunting the kakapo?
Think about how Kathy extends the talk and shapes the composition in what sounds like a conversational way.
They can have food for themselves.
Right. Why are the kakapo so easy to get?
Because they live under the ground.
Yeah, they live on the ground.
And they can't fly.
So we're going to reread what I wrote from what you said about what the problems were. Okay, so let's read the first one together. Some kakapo were almost extinct. And let's read the second one.
Some people were hunting the kakapo for food and feathers.
And then what was the last thing you said?
Other animals hunted them too.
Now when you have a problem, you hope that you have a solution. That's right, Dylan. What were some of the solutions that Bob Morrow told us about in this book?
He told us that that the recovery team bring the cockpoats to Codfish Island.
What was so important about that Codfish Island?
They didn't have other animals.
Those other animals weren't there to hunt them. So it sounds like you said the recovery team brought the kakapo to an island where
No animals lived.
there no other animals lived.
But people came to New Zealand.
People came, you're right. Can you hold that for 1 second, Marvin? I'm going to start with you. The recovery team brought the kakapo and you said it's called Codfish Island, right? We can be really specific because we know the name of that island. Where there were no predators. And what were you saying, Marvin? What other things did they do?
They came to New Zealand.
They did. And what kind of important work were they doing?
Bringing animals so they can hunt the kakapo.
Yeah, and are you thinking that's a solution, or are you thinking that part is one of the problems? That people brought the animals to hunt the kakapo?
Probably.
It is one of the problems, you're right. And so they had to try to fix that. And so Dylan was saying to fix that, they brought them to a different island where there weren't predators that would eat the kakapo. So Dylan mentioned the recovery team. What other solutions did the recovery team come up with? What are you thinking, Cynthia?
The recovery team were helping the kakapo because they had Because they had one tool, and it's a little backpack.
What did those tools help them do? They had that backpack with the radio transmitter and they had the snark. What was important about those tools?
Let them know where the cockapos were going.
Okay, so we could say the recovery team
Tracked the cockapos.
Do you all agree?
Yes.
The recovery team tracked. And by tracked, what do you mean?
Like they were tracing them.
Yeah, like keep it so that they knew where they were, right? Okay, there's some other things that the recovery team did.
And the recovery team was working hard to bring the cockapos back.
They were working hard to bring the cockapos back, you're right. And it looks like you're on that page where they're weighing the baby. What were they doing to try to bring those kakapo back? What did they do with the babies?
They were checking if the babies were safe.
They were. Do you agree, Amanda? So sometimes if we can't remember some of the solutions, we can look back in the book, and Marvin's noticing that the recovery team was checking to make sure the babies were safe.
It is sometimes helpful for students to revisit the text to remember ideas or find evidence. It is especially helpful for English language learners to use the text to help them express their thinking in English.
That the babies were safe. Now I'm thinking Bob Morrow wanted us to know that one of the successes or one of the great things that's happening because of the work that the recovery team is doing is that there are more kakapo living now than there were before. Right? Okay, so when we read some more of these books, there's other books in this series of intriguing animals.